still tap into different things. And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're writing? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly one because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and we're going to be talking about how Freshers Week parties could actually lead to a spike in coronavirus cases. All right, but before we actually get into that conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact get in touch with me. All you need to do is just text me or call me on 078-52473473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say. All right. And don't forget to follow us on our socials as well, because you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And that would be absolutely, absolutely amazing as well. And I want to very quickly remind you that our app is in fact available for download on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. So make sure to go get that. But before I actually head into this conversation, I received a few comments that I actually want to share with you guys. So it's from someone called Mediocre Misfit on Twitch. And well, he essentially asked me how I was, and I would like to say that I'm doing fine and I am absolutely enjoying myself while having this conversation. And he essentially stated that most people don't really like getting jabbed. Most people don't really like getting jabbed, right? So this is essentially this whole fear that getting jabbed might result in me getting more sicknesses, or people who are just essentially afraid of needles, or just going to the hospital, right? Because the truth is, I have so many friends like that as well, who are absolutely terrified of going to the hospital or even getting injections, right? And I feel like, again, this is something that works really well with education. This is something that that can definitely be solved if enough people are educated about it, and they get some form of understanding in how exactly to react in situations like this, right? And then he also stated that some people don't get sick at all if they get the virus, and I'm assuming you're referring to asymptomatic infections. But the truth is, they might not get sick, however they might infect a lot of other people, right? So that's why it's important for everyone to get the jab and make sure that they're keeping themselves safe and also their family safe as well, because that is very, very important. All right, and now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're going to be talking about how Freshers Week parties could actually spike coronavirus cases, right? Now, they have actually, or rather, government scientific advisors are actually stating that the university's Freshers Week parties that are going to be held next month could lead to very large spikes in coronavirus cases. All right, now universities across the country are in fact planning to hold in-person events for first-year students next month for the first time ever since 2019. Right now, we know that life was back, or our life was normal back, all the way back in 2019, right? And things really changed after that because no one expected this pandemic to change our lives so drastically. So, so significantly. And obviously we thought that at least by the end by at least by the beginning of this year that we will be done with the virus. However, that is really not what it looks like right now, right? Because it's September tomorrow and we're still dealing with the virus, and it's not just in the United Kingdom, it's in fact in all other parts of the world as well. All right. And the thing is, you think that after a while you'd get used to it, but the truth is, we've all been in this pandemic for a while, and I still haven't gotten used to it, right? So, and I feel like this is also another problem that we have, right? A lot of people tend to think, look, you know what? Ever since all these restrictions were eased on the 19th of July, and there was no legal requirement for people to wear a mask, a lot of people tend to, thought that, look, you know what? The pandemic doesn't exist anymore, at least in this part of the world, it doesn't. So I'm just gonna ignore the fact that the pandemic is still alive and happening, right? Which is basically how I would put it, right? A lot of us tend to forget that the pandemic is still happening, and that's why it's important for us to, take these necessary precautions, right? Now, this is the exact same case. This is the exact same thought process with regard to these Freshers Week parties as well. Right now, a lot of people will tend, or rather, they'll definitely go into these, into these parties saying, "Look, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to make sure that I take the necessary precautions and I socially distance and I don't get too drunk." But the thing is, when you're under the influence of alcohol, that kind of inhibits your behavior, right? Freshers Fair Week will have the potential for being a super spreader event, and however much universities pay attention to making it as safe as possible, it's actually the behavior of the people that won't be known. All right. Now, the other thing traditionally is that Freshers Week have been associated with people drinking, right? And we know that when it comes to alcohol consumption, that actually disinhibits your behavior, right? So essentially what happens then is that even if people go in with very good intentions of behaving in a low risk way, after a couple of pints, that's definitely going to change, right? And basically, despite the vaccine rollout, the UK is in a way worse situation than we were last August heading into autumn, right? Because right now schools and universities, everything's preparing to go back, and things are definitely much different than it used to be. All right, now make sure to stay tuned because we're going to be heading into a small break right now, and after that we will be back to discuss this further. But until then, make sure that you stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio, and we're talking about how Freshers Week parties could actually spike coronavirus cases that are currently, that we currently see in the United Kingdom. All right, so make sure to stay tuned because I would love to hear what you have to say. But if you want to share your thoughts and your opinions, please feel free to actually go ahead and text me on 078 473 share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say. All right. And also, while you're at it, something else that you can definitely do is to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're updated about all of these things that are happening in the world. All right. So please feel free to go ahead and do that. And our app too is available for download on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, which means that it's completely there for your convenience. All right, so please do go ahead and download the app and make sure to share our content with your friends and family as well, because it is an absolutely amazing way to be informed and updated about all of these things. Okay, and now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're talking about how Freshers Week parties have actually, or rather they could increase the rate in which coronavirus cases are happening all across the country. All right, so it's important to keep that in mind as well. And now let's actually head into our conversation. Now, Danny Altman, who happens to be a professor of immunology at Imperial and also a member of the SAGE Immunology Task Force, essentially said that he understood the pressure to return to normal after students had been horrifically shortchanged. Right? Look, I understand that as well. The truth is, when it comes to wanting to go back to normal, when it comes to wanting to change your life to the way it was, we all have a longing to do that, because the truth is, coronavirus changed so many of our lives, right? We've had to basically turn our lives around 360 degrees. And the truth is, because of that, we are all, we all have a huge desire to actually change our lives and go back to the way the things were, right? But the thing is, we can't do that overnight, and we can't possibly expect our lives to turn back as fast as that, right? Because the truth is, look, everyone wants to go back to how things were before the pandemic, but the truth is, not a lot of us can actually afford to do that. And the reason I'm telling you that is because not everyone has been fully vaccinated. The pandemic is something that we must learn to live with. So it's actually very, very important for us to understand this and prepare ourselves to deal with the pandemic for as long as it exists. So that is what we really need to do. Okay. And he basically also stated that, looking at the case numbers and demographics, it feels like another case of wishful thinking, because this sort of feels like a situation of mind over matter, that somehow there's going to be some miracle and it's all going to be okay. And, this actually reminds me of something really, really funny, because on the 31st of December 2020, I thought, when I wake up tomorrow, which is the 1st of January 2021, that the virus would have magically disappeared and this would all be over. But obviously that was not what happened. And that wish and that dream was in fact something very short-lived, right? So it's important to keep that in mind as well, because it's not some miracle. And I mean, it's not like some miracle is going to happen and everything's going to magically be all right overnight, right? And there's also concerns about how students would mix outside freshers events that also are included in large student accommodation. Okay, because you have basically large numbers of people coming from all over the world, traveling all over the country, and it's not just people in university who's at stake, it's also everyone else who's at stake, right? Because these are professors, these are children with families, with friends, and we're potentially putting so many people at risk when we refuse to follow these rules and whatnot. All right, and make sure to stay tuned, because we're going to be heading into a small break, and after that we will be here to discuss this further. So until then, make sure to stay tuned.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when